Actually does.
The other piece of it too is that I'm trained in aspects of traditional Chinese medicine. So when somebody comes in and they tell me that they're struggling with the emotions of fear and anxiety and worry, then that tells me that their adrenal glands are probably involved. And in traditional Chinese medicine, then I can go and look at the specific nutrients that help support that. And I can find the foods that have those nutrients. And then I can include more of those when I'm helping my clients to plan what foods they're going to eat. So they're supporting that specific pathway in the body.
Mm-hmm. And speaking on the conversation in terms of diets and also in terms of nutrition as a whole, something that I feel like I wasn't aware of is metabolic diseases like obesity. As I mentioned earlier, it's something that is big. Some people have eating disorders in terms of some people purge. These are conversations that I feel like there is a need for them intensely. So in a way, what kinds in terms of diet, and I mentioned that when I come across this conversation around diet, in a way I keep on, attacking these diet influencers. Usually they tell you this is good for you, yeah, and that's all, and to tell you about its side effects if they do, but really they don't do that in terms of really asking, telling you the side effects. So in terms of that field of diet, as someone that also has its problem with gut health and having leaky gut, something that is a conversation that people actually don't understand when it comes to leaky gut.
Are you asking me like how am I educating people and making them aware?
Yeah.
Connection?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a huge question, Atiko, because I think we don't understand and we don't correlate the two things. It's not the first thought. If somebody is looking for help, they're going to a doctor, they're going to a psychiatrist, they're going to a counselor or a therapist. Maybe they're getting EMDR or doing some of these other therapies, but they're never asking, am I eating the right food? Am I making the right health food choices? And so I'll get people in my office oftentimes not because mental health is the thing they want to fix, but they want to lose weight, or maybe they've got diabetes and they want to help get their diabetes under control. Like I had a client in my office about a year ago who just wanted to get his blood sugar sorted out. And by the time we got done working together, he said to me, how come my mood is better? I don't understand why my mood is better. And he had never said that he had a mood problem when he came into my office. But he said, I was so angry and so upset all the time. And I was about to go and get help from a psychiatrist because I didn't know what else to do. But we've regulated my blood sugar and I don't have those problems anymore. And I said, well, of course you don't, because your blood sugar is nice and even throughout the day now. You're feeding your body the things that it needs. So your brain has the thing it needs to make all your neurotransmitters and to keep you calm. And so that is part of my job. It's why I'm here today. It's why I like to go out and speak in public and talk about this connection. It's all about educating people to ask these questions. If I've got somebody coming into my office who's young, this happens a lot with the young people. They come in, I'm anxious. I know I have anxiety. And I sit down and I say, well, what did you eat today? And they say, well, I stopped by Starbucks on my way to work and I grabbed an iced tea lemonade. And, I got some of those protein egg bites for breakfast, but I forgot to eat them. And then I got really busy at work and then I forgot to eat at lunchtime too. And now it's 4:00 in the afternoon and I'm really struggling. I'm cold. I'm sweating. I feel sick to my stomach. My heart is racing out of my chest and I know I'm having a panic attack. And I say, okay, time out. I'm going to stay on the phone with you. Let's have you go and grab some almonds and a little bit of fruit and some hydration. Let's get you hydrated. And we get these basics in. And 15 minutes later, I can say, how do you feel today? And then they say, oh my goodness, I feel so much better. My heart isn't racing. I can think straight. Because when we aren't eating and all we do is give ourselves sugar and caffeine, then the body is in panic state. It doesn't know what to do. When our blood sugar gets so low, it doesn't know how to regulate itself and it sends itself into panic. It feels like it's starving to death. It feels like you are threatening it. So maintaining blood sugar throughout the day is critical. Have you considered, have you thought about what did you eat today? Did you know? So that I'm having these conversations all day long, just trying to educate people about the connection between the two pieces.
And it actually goes back to the thing in terms of mention that a great guy, Matt, he is a co-host of Full Fuel, and something that actually exposed me to this thing of gut health, where he says that your gut brain is your first brain. And it really opened my eyes in a way of recognizing that sometimes you think that we have one brain, and in a way of our in a way I wanted to have this thing of trying to push the narrative of nutrition. It's something that is not out there. As much as, yeah, nutrition, they tell you nutrition is important for this and this. But in all of the thing they do, they don't mention mental health and how how it contributes. It really showed me in a way of how the supplements and nutrition work when it comes to mental health and when it comes to deficiency. And something that I realized through all my research, folic acid is something that I didn't know that I can support. It's something that actually we need, which is vitamin B9. So for something that there's this thing of not recognizing that if I have deficiency of vitamin A, or B9 can cause me mental health problems or perceived symptoms. In a way, I recognize that what more should we do? What are we not doing right in a way of me in being in a place of being this mental health advocate, this mental health podcast host? What am I not doing right in terms of hearing all this information? Definitely towards the places that we're in, but in places or in, I would assume that you're in London, in England.
I have a British accent, but I'm in the US, actually.
Actually,
I was born in England.
I can hear your accent. It's something that I feel like you know that in a way of, as I mentioned, the statistics in terms of obesity. And so we mentioned that some clients come to you in terms of want to lose weight and end up knowing about how much nutrition that is important. And I had another thing that I've heard is the statistics it was said by Jordan Peterson, whereas he says that by 2030, actually currently at the US, 1 in 5 people experience obesity. So in your field that you are in, what is your take on that in general when it comes to nutrition and mental health?
We have an awful lot of people struggling with mental health. And my take on it is that 80% of it is changeable with diet and lifestyle changes. You talked about needing vitamins and not understanding that you need those vitamins, right? Folate. We know folic acid is essential when somebody's pregnant to help the neurons develop in the brain. for the new little baby. So we need that too as we're growing up and as we're an adult. And vitamin B6 is essential for making your neurotransmitters. You have different neurotransmitter pathways in your body. So you eat protein and it gives you these different amino acids. They're the smallest part of a protein. And then your body takes that smallest part of the protein and it adds in all those vitamins and minerals and it uses them to make neurotransmitters. So if your diet is very poor, then you are not going to have all of the building blocks that you need for good mental health. And we see this just across different places in the US. And I'm sure in the UK too, where we have food deserts. You know, I live in the desert, like literally in the desert in Arizona. And so fresh seafood, that's not something we get very often. It's expensive to buy because it has to be shipped in. So we're not always getting, the people who live here aren't always getting the omega-3 fatty acids And so you get somebody who lives up north in the upper hemispheres in the US, and they're struggling because they don't get enough sunshine. And so they don't have enough vitamin D from the sunshine, and that causes mental health issues. So it's not all just about the diet and nutrition. Sometimes it's about the physical ailments that are going on inside the body as well. But I believe that about 80% of what we're experiencing is changeable by making diet and lifestyle shifts.
As we draw to ending of this conversation, something that people don't actually experience, most of the people, and actually, as I mentioned, end up in terms of obesity and food addiction, it's that thing of support. Because the path, I understand, because like purely the process of having mental issue and being able to tell yourself that I'm in a journey of improvement, I'm in a journey of taking care of my mental health. So what advice do you have for someone who feels isolated and unsupported in their mental health journey?
It's so hard when you're in that spot to know where to reach out to and where to find help. But these days, with the internet being the way that it is, most help is like a Google search away. Where do I go to find help? And then I would start looking for counseling. Therapy, talk therapy is really helpful, but we have to start talking about the foundation and getting into our nutrition and how to support our mental health with that. If you've got food addiction going on, I know in the US, there are groups that can help with that. There are support groups that are there, Overeaters Anonymous. And if you've got anorexia nervosa, there are places you can go where you can get specific therapies that are tailored to those eating disorders that you have. But even if you're just struggling with mental health, the biggest thing I can say is reach out, talk to somebody. Somebody in your circle knows something. And so even if it isn't the right person at the right time, they'll know somebody. Somebody has got to be able to reach in and give you a lift up, even if it's an encouraging word. I know they say that a problem shared is a problem halved, right? So sometimes if you can speak about the thing that's inside your head and stressing you out, it's enough to help take you to the next step. And it was me reaching out back then and saying, I don't know what to do. I'm at my wit's end. I prayed, right? God, I feel like God has a lot of answers for us that we don't always know where to look. And then he shows us where the right path to go is. And so praying and asking God, would you bring somebody into my life who has the answers that I need right now? And then looking, you have to get out. You have to look. You cannot stay where you are. You can't go backwards. You can't crumple in a heap on the floor. You have to look forward and reach out and find somebody who can take you by the hand and lead you where you need to go to get the help that you need.